O ovoj temi razgovaram sa Tomasom O'Donnellom. On je energetski i geopolitički analitičar na Berlinskom Fraj univerzitetu. Pre svega, gospodine O'Donnell, hvala vam što govorite za program EuroNews-Serbia. I na početku da nam kažete kako će se najnovija odluka Saudijske Arabije i Rusije odraziti na cenu nafte na svetskom tržištu. Da li će ona preći tu granicu od $100 po barelu?
Well, thank you for the invitation. I think there's a good chance that the price of oil, at least for some time, will go over $100 a barrel. If you see what the head of the Saudi ministry, he says the reason that they're taking more oil off the market is because there's questions about economic growth. There's certainly questions about economic growth in China and somewhat in Europe, that central banks are still going after inflation and so forth. So he's thinking that there's going to be soft demand. That's what he's going to wait and see. On the other hand, the International Energy Agency is saying that in the fourth quarter there won't be enough oil on the market, and it's quite likely then, therefore, the price could go up to 100. It's pretty close already. And it looks like the market agrees with the IEA. The market's in backwardian, so looking out for some months, 6 months, that's what the market seems to be expecting. In which case, well, let me just leave it at that for now. So I think there's a good chance that the price could go above 100.
U tom slučaju, ko bi mogle da budu posledice po svetsku privredu i ko bi tu mogao da pretrpi najveće gubitke?
Okay. Well, it's always the countries that don't produce their own oil and gas and have to buy it and are also poor to begin with that suffer the most. That's quite clear. So it's always Asia and African countries, South Asia, countries that don't produce oil. Now, within Europe, where we're sitting, it depends. The higher price of oil will cause pressure, somewhat inflationary pressure, and the European Union is still fighting somewhat with this inflation problem. Some Eastern European countries are fighting even more with the inflationary problem, as you know. And so that'll help that. Now, on the other hand, even if the price of oil went up well over $100 a barrel, if you look at the real price of oil and compare it, the last times it was really high was 2008 through 2009, and then again in 2010 to 11. And $100 a barrel, even maybe $120 or more dollars a barrel, is still below that. So it won't be as inflationary as it was historically, $100 a barrel.
Prema nekim procenama, u ovom trenutku tržište se suočava sa deficitom koji je veći od 3 miliona barela nafte dnevno. Može li to da ima za posledicu možda i nestašicu nafte u narednom periodu?
Yes, that's precisely what the International Energy Agency is worried about, that it'll lead to some spike. Now, when the Saudi minister is presented with this worry and the evidence from the market, what he says is, well, we have a lot of oil setting in reserve. We can turn the taps back on. So we're going to leave it where it is until we see evidence to the contrary. Well, in a sense, he's right. If the price does get very high, he can quickly, if he makes a deal with Russia and other countries in OPEC Plus, start selling more oil. So there is enough oil available. There's enough oil capacity that can be produced, so that to stop, if it does start to spike significantly above 100, I think it can be brought down. It would be farther out, say if China recovered, then you might have really some problem. Now, of course, lurking behind all this is the fact that Russia is under fairly severe sanctions. The thing is, I could discuss this a little bit. This is not contributing really to the higher price of oil, because so much of Russian oil is being sold either below the price cap or below the going market rates. So that was the intention of the Biden administration and the G7 in Europe, that rather than taking the oil off the market, they'd let Russia sell the oil, like it's doing to India and China, but try and control the price. And up until last month or so, they had cut the amount of revenues Russia was getting by half, which obviously that's money in the pocket of consumers around the world. Now, Russia is getting around the sanctions more, transporting oil on ships that aren't insured by the European Union, and is starting to avoid that cap. And so its oil is starting to contribute more to the higher price.
Mr. O'Donnell, thank you for speaking for our program. Thomas O'Donnell, energetski geopolitički analitičar sa Univerziteta u Berlinu, bio je naš gost.
From the Freie University was our guest.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.